Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you are a returning listener, I want to take this time to thank you for being a constant listener, a constant supporter. It does mean the world to me. It makes me feel like the work and time and effort that I put into the podcast is not in vain. So I want to thank you for being a consistent and constant support. If you're new here, I'm your host, Tanya. I'm a public health professional working in maternal and child health. That is a passion of mine. And I'm now a new grad student working towards my master's in public health degree, which I will document. You'll hear me talk about this from time to time here on the podcast. So welcome to Tea with Tanya. Usually before I get into the episode, I like to give you an affirmation because I'm very big when it comes to affirming myself. It's how I've been able to get over the humps, get over the migraines that I chronically suffer from, anything in life. An affirmation usually helps me get over the hump that I may feel. So I definitely want to share the affirmation of the week, which is, it's a bit of a mouthful, but it resonated with me and it's something that I'm feeling even as I record this episode. And the title of the episode as well, it just seemed fitting for that. And this week's affirmation is, no matter how hard it is or how long it takes, I will give it my all to accomplish my goals. No matter how hard it is, or how long it takes, I will give it my all to accomplish my goal. So as you go about this day thinking about the stress and the challenges and the stumbling blocks you may face in this here life, just remember, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes, no matter anything, you're going to give it your all to accomplish all of your goals. And as we do here in the tea tasting room, I am going to share a tea that I'm trying out, or I want you to try out all these different things. And this is from a brand that's called Numi. And the product it's an immune boost. And I don't know about you, we're in the month of August. For some reason, the weather is not really as warm as I would like it, but it's definitely, so I'm trying to prepare myself for when, quote unquote, the flu season begins. So this is called the Immune Boost from Numi, and the flavor is pretty much spicy and it's comforting. There's no caffeine in this tea, and it helps to boost your system. And the ingredients in this, if you want to know, is going to be organic echinacea leaf and stem, organic rosehip fruit, organic dandelion. I love me some dandelion root. It says organic dandelion root, organic dandelion leaf and stem, organic ginger root, and organic cinnamon bark with a bit of organic licorice root. And why this work is that the echinacea, which is native to North America, is a very powerful ally when it comes to immune defense. The rosehip, they're sweet red berries that pack a bright burst of citric replenishment. And of course, the dandelion leaf and root, they are known to tonify and rejuvenate. So you definitely should try this out as we are getting ready to boost our immune system for the upcoming flu season and just in general, because we cannot be on a wellness journey if we're not thinking about our immune system. So I definitely want to start boosting that immune system because I felt a slight change in my how I was feeling with my body. And I was like, nope, I got to make this change because I cannot afford to get sick literally and figuratively. I don't want to. So I'm making sure that I am working on that as well. Now, as we get into today's episode, I've been doing a little bit of a self-reflection over my life, and the recurring theme for this season has been all about goal setting and setting our goals and working towards them, even in the midst of challenges, when you have to think about taking a leave and all these different things, how to balance life with school, work, whatever it is. And that has been a theme. And I realized that while we were at the midway or the midpoint of the year, I did not accomplish all the goals that I set up for myself to accomplish by the middle of the year. I did accomplish some I didn't, some I'm still working on, some are going to take longer than I may have anticipated, like I said in our affirmation today, no matter how long it takes or what it takes, I am going to make sure that I accomplish my goals no matter what. But I just remember that sometimes I'm thinking that maybe my dreams are too big. Here I am, a girl who's working in her career, working in maternal and child health, working full time, and I'm putting myself back into grad school. And I've oftentimes heard that, I am an overachiever, not from people who essentially will listen to the podcast, which they probably should, but just some people who are around me who may have seen my work ethic and all what I do and have going on. And, I just want to say that no dreams are too big. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life. Sometimes it can, you'll feel like you're falling behind. I feel that way. I think I even feel that way right now because I started out with a band, even with my podcast and how consistent I want to be and how on top of things I want to be with my podcast, but I realize that I'm still lacking a little bit of time management and dedication. I am dedicated, I will say that. Let me take that back. But I think that I am lacking a bit in my time in the time management department for some reason. And it can be very easy to feel like you're falling behind. And I remember I've had days in recent times where I'm thinking, wow, you have the support of you listening to this podcast. You have the support of an editor and different people who are supporting you and your vision and your dream, as small as I may be. And sometimes I feel like I am falling behind when it comes to, let's say, maybe how many downloads I'm having per episode, the quality content that I am producing. And that could be a me falling because, again, I'm not managing my time how I want to. And then I'm thinking, why is that a thing? What is it? What is a distraction? And I realize that nothing or no one can stop me from accomplishing my dream. That much I know. Nobody, no person, nothing. I don't care if it's a challenge, if it's a stumbling block, nothing. Sometimes I think that I get in my own way. Sometimes, honestly, my migraines be getting in my way. I'll be honest with you guys. My migraines be getting in my way. But I think that I've oftentimes questioned, like, why am I not doing the things that I've thought in my head over and over? Granted, it's being done, but it's not being done on the caliber that I set for myself. So we're going to talk about all that today, about feeling behind. I have an amazing guest. She's a friend of mine, someone who I call a friend since I recently migrated or moved to a new state. She has been a rock for me, and she's someone who we both started in our grad school journey. She's a mom of two. So we're going to talk about what it's like to feel behind, how is she balancing motherhood, being a grad student, working full-time, all these different things. So I'm looking forward to talking with her. Today's guest is someone very near and dear and special to my heart. And I know I say this about most of my guests sometimes, but she really is someone that's special to me. And I think today we're actually here on the podcast, we're breaking her podcast, as we'll say, virginity. This is her first podcast episode. And I'm happy that she decided to be on my podcast because she's an avid supporter of mine and anything that I do. So I'm happy to have her. She is also a mom of two. So you may hear her baby in the background here and there. And that's what we're talking about today, finding balance. And her idea of finding balance, I'm sure, is doing what she got to do, even while taking care of her children. But you know how we do it here in the tea tasting room. So Shambria is going to tell us a little bit about herself. And then we're going to get into today's episode. So hey, Shambria, welcome to Tea with Tanya.
Hey, everybody. I love my introduction because I have fallen in love with my girl Tanya, everything she does. I am an avid supporter. I think she's awesome. Her family is awesome, and I love my girl.
That's me. Well, yeah. Tell us about yourself now.
So, my name is Shambria. I'm from a town called Columbia, the state of South Carolina. I've lived here most of my life. I'm a mom. I'm an outreach specialist at the moment, working in the hospital. I love what I do. I'm also a MSW student at the Howard University.
HU, is that what they say?
Ice and fried. So excited on this new journey in my life. This will be my second semester starting in a few weeks. Super, super excited. So yes, that's just a little bit about me. I have two children, like she said. One is 2 and the other is 10. And I'm a girl mom and I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yes. Shout out to the girl moms out there listening. Well, yeah, as Shambria would have mentioned, she is an MSW student at the illustrious Howard University. And I think I would have mentioned briefly in the introduction that we both started our master's program pretty much the same semester at two different schools. You guys and I go to the University of South Carolina. And I don't know how we're doing it. I don't know why. I mean, I know why we're doing it. We know why we're doing it, but I just don't know how we are doing it. And then when I say we, I think about, I don't know how Shambria is doing it. Working a full-time job, being in school, and then being the mom to two beautiful girls. So we're going to talk about that today on the episode, about finding balance and sometimes even feeling like we're falling behind with our goals, and sometimes feeling the weight of societal expectations, and peer pressure when it comes to balancing work, life, and ultimately motherhood. So Shambria, tell us, first of all, I'm a doula, I'm a maternal health girl. So before we get into this whole goals and feeling behind, how does it feel being a mom and like going to school, or just navigating life with being a mom to two children? Because I don't have kids. I mean, I'll love everybody else's kids and I'll send them back. I'll spoil them, do whatever. I'm not there yet. How does it feel to be a mom, living and now walking in your purpose? Because guys, Shambria and I, we're on our elevation period. We call it our transformation, elevation time in life, where the things that we probably were accepting a few months ago, even a few years ago, we're no longer going to tolerate that. We just can't. And, in that elevation period comes change. But how does it feel to be a mom? First of all, Shambria, and then navigating this thing called life, as well as now being in school.
Okay, so for me, my journey has been like always doing this, because I had my first daughter at 23, 22 or 23.
Uh-huh.
And I took a break from school for only like 6 months. So I gave myself 6 months, went back to school part-time, and I have been in school basically all of her life, just about off and on, just always chasing what I feel like is needed in order to provide for her. And, I've always done it. So for me, it kind of second nature. When I'm not in school, I feel like I'm not doing what I need to be doing. So I'm just a student always. So for me, it just comes second nature. Like, it's just like that for me. So it's kind of easy, but it does get challenging when I have like a lot on my plate. Like, say if it's holidays, like right now, back to school, trying to get back into that routine. But for me, it's just, I've always known what I wanted and that I needed like my education in order to do what I needed to do, which is provide for my family. So for me, like I said, it's just a second nature thing. So it's just innately in me just to be a student.
That's good. I think I consider myself to be a professional student, because I've been going to school since I've been 2 years old, and I probably took 1 year off from school, and that was probably the hardest, the hardest time in my life, not being in school. So I think that for me also, I'll consider myself a professional student, because we always say, oh, we learn something every day, but actually being in academics and actually writing papers, studying, doing all these different things, I just think it's honestly part of my identity at this point in time, and I'm just gonna have to accept that,
Me too.
I know for you, you said that it's innately in you to go to school and be a mom. So, like, do you have support when it comes? I mean, I know you have support, but people who are listening, like, how are you balancing, again, being a mom? You think you're talking about back to school, and we're thinking about birthdays and holidays, because we know you're going to school essentially and you're working so hard because you want to provide for your children. But where does that drive come, and how does support look like for you when it comes to accomplishing these goals? Because they're big goals, and not many people, essentially, one, would have these goals. Or for those listening, thinking about, okay, I may be a mom of one or two, I may be expecting my first child, and I want to go back to school. Because I feel like from what we've seen in societies, some people think that life ends when you become a parent or a mom, and specifically because you're thinking about, okay, here I am. Like, for instance, you were in school when you had your first child, and then you say you took a break. You took 6 months. And first of all, shout out to you for going back to school 6 months postpartum, because you are crazy. Not crazy, but I think that shows your work ethic. But when we think about having a child, some of us, I know for me at one point in time, I was telling myself that I personally want to wait before I have a child. This was like a few years ago when I was still doing my undergrad, because I wasn't sure if I was, one, mentally mature. I'm going to be honest, I was not ready for a child back then. I would have had to get ready, but I wasn't mentally, or when it comes from a mature standpoint. But I remember having thoughts of thinking, if I were to have a child, my life would completely end. And what I mean by end, I'm just thinking that I would have to just completely dedicate my life to just being a mom and just working whatever job I could versus going back to school. So I thought like my school career would have been over the minute I became a parent. I know I'm saying that's not necessarily the case by way of you and so many other millennial moms out here. So you wanting to give your children the best life, like what, how are you navigating just again being a mom? I know you're in grad school, or how did you navigate being back in school with your first child, 6 months postpartum, and then now you have two beautiful babies and you're now working full time, but yet still now you're back in school doing a master's degree, and that is no easy feat.
It's just because I know what I want. You know what I'm saying? I know what I believe my purpose is at this point in my life. And I need that education as well to get to where I want to be, professionally as well. So for me, when it comes to my education, there's no option. So when I look at it, it's like, I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
there's no other option. I have to succeed in this because I have to. I don't see anything else. So I think that's just my drive. That's like an innate part of me, just as far as my motivation as it comes to my education and just wanting to be successful for me. It just comes from my drive and my self-motivation. Like, I just know that this is what I want. I just know who I am when it comes to that professional side of me and educational side of me. I just always knew what I wanted when it came to that, in a sense. And if I got to stay up till I have to put my children to bed at a certain time, and if I got to stay up to 2:00 in the morning, 2 days a week to get a paper done, I know that's what I got to do this week. Next week, it may not be like that, but this week it may be like that. So I just have the conversation with my daughter, like, this weekend we have to stay in. We might have to have some movie nights in the house. I'm going to be writing my paper. She'll be doing her own thing. They'll be eating snacks. And it's just like, that's just our routine.
Right. It's just knowing what you want. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So for those listening who may be considering one, okay, I have a full-time job, whatever your job may be, and I have my kids, but one, I may feel like I am neglecting my children because I'm falling behind when it comes to maybe being present, or I may be falling behind on a paper or something for school. Like, give us a little bit of advice, or maybe probably what you do as it relates to, I know you mentioned putting on a movie, having stuff inside, but for those thinking, okay, I want to go back to school, or I have a full-time job and I am a parent of 1, 2, 3, how many children essentially, but I'm probably not managing my time well, or I don't have a routine. I have not established a routine where I can ensure that I'm spending some sort of time with my child or my children, but I'm also not neglecting me as a person, me as a mom, but also my work. So I guess for those listening, like, tell us maybe what you do or what you suggest. Because again, you know your purpose now. Some people are struggling with that, and that's okay. But if you're listening and you have a child, or you plan on, you're getting up there in age, and we know we have all these different stories and histories about the age of women giving birth these days, which that's another story for another day. But for those of us, even if we don't even have kids, like, what are some routines? What are some things we can do to ensure that we don't neglect ourselves as a person, and neglect our roles and duties as a mom to how many ever children, given that, you're back in school, you're working full time, and you got to cater to their needs?
Okay, so first thing I would say when considering doing that is just making sure that's what you want to do. Because, that's the first step. Because if you don't know, you're not going to follow through with it.
Right.
Because I was having this conversation with one of my friends. She asked me the same thing. She was like, how do you do this? And I'm like, because I know that this is what I want to do. So I'm going to do it. Like, that's just me. That's just me. So I know first that this is what I want to do. So I'm going to do everything that I need to do to ensure that. And then I have an older daughter. I mean, she's a preteen now. She's 10. So I communicate with her. I tell her, like, okay, mommy has this due. Mommy has class this day. And this is what's going to happen. And, this is what we need to do to make sure we're good. You go ahead and take your bath at this time because I have class. I do once I get off of work. So this semester, I will be in class from like 6 to 8:50 on Monday nights. And that's it. So for us, that will work good. So she's going to know that Monday nights, this is what we have to do. Mommy is going to be in class. So I guess that's, in a sense, our routine. And just communicating. Even when you got a toddler, I'm going to communicate with her. She may not understand everything, but she understands. If she see her sister taking a bath, it's time for Brielle to take her bath. it's time to have dinner, it's time to do these things. But for me, that's what it is, knowing what you want and just communicating. If you have other children, if you are a single mom, just making sure you have that support. Even if you aren't a single mom, communicating with your partner on what needs to be done so that you can be successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do. And then you also gotta make, like, I'm a big advocate for self-care, and all my coworkers
Yes.
are saying that. I have memberships to get my massages, facials, whatever that is I feel like I need to do that month. I have a membership for that. That's my self-care. I like to do a lot of meditating, sometimes journaling, because I feel like that comes into place with just knowing yourself. Like, you just got to take that time.
Yeah.
You got to know what you need to do for you to be as successful, healthy, happy, whole as you can be when you going into these type of things. Like, you have to be that happy, healthy, and whole. That's one of my mottos for myself. Like, I want to be healthy, happy, and whole at all times. Even though I may not always be that, but I check in with myself, and I know one of those things are not happening. I may not be happy today. I might not feel whole today. And I may have something going on with my health today. I don't know. But I just always check in with myself, and I pray that over myself, that I'm happy, healthy, and whole at all times. And I just try to make sure whatever I'm doing, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm whole.
And I like that idea of checking in with yourself, because sometimes many of us we fall behind when it comes to we're so used to being on the go and thinking that we got to achieve this goal, this next goal, and the theme for this season is all about working towards our goals. But if we're not essentially checking in with ourselves, because I feel like for me, there's been moments in my life, and even recently, that I feel like I'm falling behind in some way. Whether it be I'm falling behind financially, I'm falling behind. I don't want to say as it relates to school, because you guys know, once I'm in school, I'm in school. Nothing or no one is going to stop me from achieving my goal. But I remember I've had a period in my life, and I think I've told you, I don't remember, when I failed out of nursing school, and I was like, okay, this is a setback. This was not the goal. This was not the plan. I was supposed to be a nurse by 2017. So now I would have had 6 years experience. I would have been a travel nurse. I would have been living a particular life that I had envisioned for myself. But then that failure, in a sense, was to me a setback. And then, I felt like I was falling behind in life. Like, all my peers that I went to school with back in Antigua migrated to go to school. They were done with their bachelor's degree. Some were already on to master's degree. Some were already, building their family and these different things. And I think sometimes it can be so easy for us to feel like, one, we're falling behind. And I feel like even if you know what your purpose is, because now I know what my purpose is in life, but you can still feel that way, because I know for me, I put a timeline on when I'm supposed to accomplish a particular goal. And I'm still learning, because I don't know how many times I need to learn this one lesson. But I'm still learning that, I cannot plan. I can plan. When we talk about creating these SMART goals, we want to make sure that they're specific, and we all have managing time and measuring the time and these different things. But I can say, okay, I'm going to accomplish this goal in 6 months. Then somewhere along the line, like you said, maybe a health issue comes up, or something with work, or in your case, you have a child where you have to take off time to ensure that you're dealing with your child. There's so many different things that could happen. So I just wonder if you ever feel like you are essentially falling behind where you are in life. And I ask that question because, again, no, we are on our journey to getting our master's degree. And for me, when I first failed out of nursing school, I always talk about, oh my God, at the time how old was I? I was young. But I just remember thinking, okay, by 30 years old, I need to be married. I need to have I need to have X, Y, Z kids, have this big mansion, have this particular career. But then that is not my life. Now I am 32. Listen, see, here I'm saying I'm 32. Guys, I'm 33. That's crazy. Wow. Now I'm 33. When did this happen? Wow. Wow, that is crazy.
Newly 30.
Newly, you're right. Newly is just about 2.5 months shy out of being 33. And I remember now my mindset has shifted, thinking that, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm thinking about when I'm done this master's degree in public health, I'm thinking about going back to school for something else. Like right now, age is just really a number for me right now. And when I see people like you who work full time, you're great. She's an amazing mom, and you find a balance. Of course, there are challenges here and there that we talk about. But when I think about that, sometimes I feel like, okay, maybe I'm falling apart and I'm falling behind because this friend has accomplished this and that friend has accomplished. And what am I doing? Granted, I'm in the midst of working towards accomplishing my own personal goals. Because I think on the last episode, I spoke about, are we setting goals for ourselves or for other people, So I'm still on that journey. But was there ever a time where you probably felt like, okay, I'm falling behind because I'm not in school right now, even though, we're professional students, but we're not in school presently at a particular moment, or maybe I didn't take my child to this doctor appointment, which, I don't think you really would miss an appointment. But have you ever felt behind in accomplishing certain goals, or feel pressure from family members or even society in the world of TikTok? Because one thing about Shambria and I, we're going to send each other a TikTok. But most times the TikTok are usually inspiring, or sometimes we're laughing, but our conversations, oh, I saw this on TikTok, oh, I saw this being on TikTok. That's just society right now, where social media has taken over our lives. So have you felt okay, I am behind, even though I know I'm a good mom, I'm a good daughter, I'm a good worker, XYZ? Have you ever felt you've fallen way behind on your goals, or you felt pressure from society, consciously and even subconsciously, to even accomplish your goals, or trying to live up to somebody else's expectations?
I'm a weird person, I guess. Because
Listen, we're all weird.
I'm trying to think. I don't never really feel like that. The reason being is because I've had a mom that always spoke life into me. So it's every little thing I call my mom. So she always tell me God has a plan. And then there may have been moments where I'm forsaken. But I always think about that when she tells me God has a plan for you. So when I think about it, I think about, okay, I can't compare myself to this person or anything, because my plan is not theirs. Whatever God set out for me, I gotta go this way. Even when I'm okay, dang, I hate this happened. Dang, I have those moments where I hate that I'm going through something, but I don't really feel like I'm behind, because I've always had that in the back of my mind. The plan for me is this. You know what I'm saying? My life is not their life.
Yeah.
Even if I did everything this person did, I'm still not going to have the same outcome. So I there hasn't been a moment where I felt like that too much. I did always think that I would be married by now. That's probably been one of the things. I thought that I would be married by now. That's one of my things, I think. And I used to kind of feel away, because I used to do credit repair for people. And I'm like, dang, I'm helping people get into homes, beautiful homes, and I'm still living in an apartment. So I have had those moments. But then I think about it, because I consider myself both spiritual and religious. I feel like that kind of hand in hand. So I always go back to knowing okay, it's just not my time. I understand that sometimes it's just not our time. And then what God has for us is so much better than what we can even think to even imagine. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my time. I know what you have for me is probably going to be way more than what I even imagined it could be. So I kind of hold on to that. My faith is just so strong in God that I kind of don't compare for real. And I'm just the advocate for unplugging and just focusing on me and mine, and whatever it is that I want to do, I'm going to do it, because I'm going to pray. I'm going to make sure that it happens. So
and then, essentially you'll work towards it. Because I think even for me, I like to say, I am living on the other side of my karma, because, we've all, when you're younger, we've all made dumb decisions. We've done some things that, one, we didn't have the knowledge about, or we just didn't know any better. And even in the times when we knew better, for me personally, I just didn't do better, and I realized that the things that I think that I would pray for, no, back then when I would be like, oh my God, am I not God's favorite? Why are you overlooking me? And then for me, you're seeing other people doing some of the very same things that you wanted to do, or you want to do, one, or two, because there's a thin line for me. A few years ago, where I'll see a peer doing something that I wanted to do, and it's not happening for me. And then now that I'm old and I'm mature, and I'm realizing I'm living on the other side of my blessing, in the sense where all the prayers that I prayed for many, many years ago are now coming through in an abundance that I can't even keep up with sometimes, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I remember I have this mantra in life where nothing happens before it's time. And that mantra came about when I fell out of the nursing program, was trying to get into respiratory school, and that wasn't even in my heart. I was just trying to do something, because I think, you go up in the Black community, and you go up in the Caribbean, you have to have a certain profession here and there sometimes. That my parents didn't necessarily place that on me, but it's just that mindset for some reason, that you had to have a certain career to be deemed successful, right?
Yeah.
And I say nothing happens before it's time. And none of them receiving all these blessings. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I am God. Maybe I am God's favorite. So when I see other people, one, maybe doing something that I want to do, I just say, like you say, in due time. It's not my time. Because I often think that, what if I did become a nurse? Would I have been the best nurse? Would I have done something to probably get my license taken away for a lifetime? You just never know. Would I have been happy? Right. Would I have been happy? Would I have been content with life? Would I have been able to advance in a career? All these different things we got to think about. So sometimes we want things at a certain time. And it's very easy, I feel like, to think that you are falling behind or you're not living up to certain expectations. But then, like, you would always say, if you're not happy, then you can't be living life for somebody else. Like, we can't be thinking, because too many times, and I've done it when I was younger, I've been doing things like I mentioned on this podcast before. I've done things to buy friendship, to buy love, go against my character at times just to fit in, quote unquote, fit in. And it was just too much energy.
Yeah.
It was just too much energy. And I'm a tired girl, okay? Because I do the most on a daily basis. I don't have the energy to be doing something to fit in. So I like when you say, again, nobody's going to necessarily stop you from achieving your goal or doing what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, you know what you want in other life. I think that's the most important thing, even for those of you listening here. When you think about life can become overwhelming. Like me and Shambria, we have overwhelming times, but again, you hold on to that faith. If you believe in that, whatever higher power you believe in, you got to hold on to that faith and know that your time is coming. Because you got to be prepared. We can't be over here sitting over here sulking. Oh, this person is doing this. Oh, I feel so behind. I should have, like Shambria and I said, we thought we would have been married by now. Okay, the husband is not there yet. That's okay. Would we have gotten married younger? Would we have been still married, or would have been divorced? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the time is going to come. So instead of feeling overwhelmed, how about you try to stay true to your own path and even your own core values of life? So what advice, Shambria, do you have for someone who feels overwhelmed by the expectation of others, thinking that, they put expectations on themselves, thinking that they have to be married with kids by 25 or 30, or they have to have this particular degree, or whatever the case may be in life? Like, what advice do you have? Because again, I think what we're missing from some of us in today's society is staying true to who we are. Many of us, we're trying to live up to the social media hype or what somebody else is doing, and we forgot about who we are, how we were raised, and our core values. So what advice? Because I know, let me tell you this, Shambria is a no-nonsense girl. Like, whereas I'll be the person where I'll try to keep things in and trying to adjust and adapt. While she adjusts and adapts, she's going to speak her mind, because she's just not going to be able to function if something is bothering her. Whereas Tanya over here will be tipping the toe, trying to not step on nobody's toes here and there. So that's one thing I will say that Shambria has taught me, is to, like, you've really brought out the best version of myself. I know, so that people are like, oh, what are you talking about, Tanya? No, it's true, because
The same.
because of you, I've become more honest with myself first and foremost, and then more honest with other people. Like, because I cannot continue to live a life that's a lie. It's just too much energy, and I realize that when I'm speaking up for what I want, what I believe in, it brings a sense of peace. All this time, even on a wellness journey and trying to live two lives, not really two lives, but trying to appease to others when it's detrimental to me and my life. So you have really brought that out, to just be honest and to not accept any BS from anyone. So what advice do you have for somebody who may be in the same boat as me, or thinking that they're going against their core values in life to cater to somebody else or to cater to society? Like, what would you tell them, being that you are this person?
I think just using what they feel like they're trying to project onto you as motivation, in a sense, I guess. Like, so say if it's your parent that's telling you, oh, you're not doing enough, kind of check in with yourself to make sure that you feel like that. Because if you feel like you're not doing enough, then you may not be doing enough. So if you're not doing enough, then use that as motivation and say, if my mom feels like I'm not doing enough to reach whatever it is that I need to be reaching, then just use that as motivation. Like, whatever it is, I use everything as motivation. Like, every feeling that I have, like, if I'm sad today, I'll sit in that feeling. But then tomorrow I'm going to use that as motivation to be like, okay, I don't want to be sad today. Like, if I was sad yesterday, I don't want to be sad again the next day. Like, no, like, I'm going to use that as like, okay, I felt that today, but today we're going to try something else to ensure that don't continue to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, fix whatever it is in yourself that's making you feel this way. Like, you got to fix it like that. Just don't sit there and allow those things to go on.
No, I get that. Like, give yourself at least.
Yeah, like, make a change.
Yeah, give yourself at least 24 hours, maybe 48 hours tops, depending on what the situation is. But realize, again, you're going to use it as motivation, whether it be to heal, to start a grieving process, whatever it is. Because too many times you're sitting out here sulking, looking at, this is what happened to me. Because to be sad, again, like we say, we're not telling you not to feel sad, but sit in your feelings for as long as you may think you need to sit in that feeling, but also understand, don't let that feeling engulf your entire life. Because sometimes we sit in our feelings for so long, then before you know, we end up in, let's say, a depression or it becomes bigger than what it could have been or should have been because we're not taking that feeling, we're not maybe processing that feeling to tell ourselves, okay, maybe analyze why did this happen? And that's why I like to journal too, because sometimes you can write. I think a lot of us think that journaling means we have to have a set way of journaling. It's like, no, you get your thoughts and your feelings on paper, and sometimes you'll be surprised at how relieved you feel when it comes to after you finish journaling. Like tell yourself, okay, why did this make me feel this way? That's a question I have to ask myself, and that's why a lot of things doesn't really bother me as much anymore because I'm asking myself, why did I feel this way?
Right.
Sometimes you'll find an answer. Sometimes the answer may be difficult. Sometimes you don't even have an answer. And if I can't find an answer, it tells me that I shouldn't be feeling the way I'm feeling. Like a situation or a person is not gonna have that power over me to let me be stuck in a particular feeling. So like Shambria said, you want to sit in that feeling and use it as motivation. Too many times we're looking for other people to motivate us. And I think that's where the downfall is. I don't know about you. Sometimes we sit here, I want this person to motivate me. But then the reason why that person is able to motivate us is because they themselves were able to motivate themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of sitting here thinking, let me go, of course, listen to Tea with Tanya podcast for some inspiration and motivation. I'm not saying that. But sometimes, even after listening to what somebody's saying, you have to sit with your feelings and think about how best can I apply maybe what somebody's saying so I can motivate myself, You're great at motivating yourself. We don't have time. Like we live in a world, we're all out here, we have our goals, our accomplishment, and getting there is going to be challenging. Like I mentioned for the affirmation of this episode of this week is that it doesn't matter how long it takes or how hard it gets. We're gonna accomplish our goals in whatever time frame. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 10 years. The fact of the matter is you're going to motivate yourself to become the best.
Like knowing why, because when I was thinking about this episode, it was like I was thinking about people think that you're going to get a reward for doing, you know what I'm saying? Don't do things because you want someone to say, oh, you're doing a good job. Like do that stuff because that's what you want to do. And yourself you don't get a reward or an award for being a good person or just doing what you need to be doing all the time. I mean, just do what you need to do for yourself.
Yes.
Whatever that may be.
That is true. You made a good point because sometimes we're out here looking for somebody. I remember one time I was in a relationship and something I did, something basic. It was like the bare minimum in a sense. That's something I'm supposed to be doing, but I wasn't doing. And I remember asking the person, oh, why didn't you compliment me or tell me good job or reward me?
Right.
And the person was like, why should I reward you for something that you should be doing? And even though that comment would have rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest. But when I'm thinking about it now and thinking about the big picture is that, again, do things that's from your heart. Do it genuinely because you want to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Think about pleasing yourself first because I know growing up, we want to make our parents proud. We're already doing that. We're doing the best we can. Right now, we've got to get to a point in time where we are making ourselves proud first. We are happy. And of course, in your case, you want to make sure that your children can see that mommy's doing X, Y, Z. Lead by example. Sometimes we want to teach, but they can learn just from seeing what you're doing. Because I remember when you applied to Howard and you got in, guys, that was a moment of celebration. But I remember when you got into Howard and one of your things were that you wanted your children to see that no matter how hard something can be or how challenging it's going to be for you to go back to school while working full time, while being their parent, is that they're going to see that mommy was resilient.
Right. Right.
And you're not looking for them to tell you, oh, I mean, of course, they say, mommy, I'm proud of you. That goes a long way too, but you're doing it for you, but you're also doing it so that they can see that this is possible. You can accomplish anything in life. It doesn't matter how late some of us may deem it. Nothing is never too late.
Right. Right.
It's about knowing yourself. How did you know that this is what I want to do in life? I know you say it's innate, but I feel like I want you to tell me more. How did you know that I am who I am, nothing or no one is going to stop me? And that's kind of why I chose the affirmation for this week. I'm like, that's Shambria. Nothing or no one is going to stop her from, same thing with you, nothing or no one is going to stop me from accomplishing my goals. But you're just so wired, you're just so focused. Like sometimes, again, you're a mom going to grad school. That is, people tell you going to grad school. I feel like if you told people, oh, I'm going to go to grad school, they'd be like, girl, are you serious? Again, projecting their insecurities. Again, don't get me wrong. But how do you self-motivate yourself then? Like, what is it? Because I know for me, I want to live a particular lifestyle where I want to be in a big house. And that may sound as surface level as they may come. I want to be able to can pay my bills
Yeah.
on time and without worrying about, okay, where's the money come from next? I want to be able to live a life where I can travel with me or even with me and my child or children, whatever it is, without having to worry. I think that's why I go so hard. One, wanting to make an impact in society, in the lives of women and children and girls, whatever you want to call it, by way of my nonprofit, by way of this podcast, just enlightening everyone. I want to make an impact. So when I'm gone, they can say, Tanya, she was a great motivator. She was an inspiration. She always pushed us to be our best self. That kind of way. I want to be remembered for that to an extent. But one of the reasons why I also go hard is because I want to create a life of ease,
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in a certain lifestyle. And I grew up, I don't want to use the word privilege, but I grew up where my parents work hard to provide for their children. Like any parent listening to this podcast right now, we are going to work hard. Doesn't matter where you work at. You're working hard so that you can provide for your child or children. But I just want to be able to, I think what motivates me is being able to be in a career that I actually like or love, because I don't want to be working somewhere. The days of me working somewhere that I can't stand is no more. Because I do not have the energy. I don't have the energy to be in an environment just for a check. You know what I mean?
Right.
Granted, that may be some people's story. That may be your story. That may be, you listening. That could be your story. But we want to get to a point where we can be in a career or have some sort of income or job where we are content with where we are.
Right.
But still working towards more. Because I want to be able to get up today and say, you know what, let's go to Bali tomorrow and not worry about where I'm getting the money from. I want to be able to one day when I have my children, they can go anything they want. They're going to get anything, anywhere they want to go, they're going to go without me having to factor in finances. Granted, we have to factor it in to some extent, but I just want to live a life of ease, no stress. So that for me is my motivation. Let me go to school, let me get this master's degree, because with this master's degree comes more income. I can outsource things that I don't have the time for. So that's kind of what motivates me. Of course, making my parents proud, that's also a motivator, but mainly wanting to make an impact, but also living a life of ease from a financial standpoint. When we talk about generational wealth and breaking these generational curses, to me, generational wealth is being able to have, I would say multiple stream of income, but being able to have your finances in order where you are, you plan financially where you want to be and all these different things. So that's kind of what motivates me in a sense, making my parents proud, making an impact, a lasting impact in this world with people by way of my nonprofit and this podcast. But what also motivates you and potentially my future children?
That's a good. So the first thing that came to my mind was breaking generational curses, for sure. Because I come from a family of a lot of generational trauma that has happened, a lot of generational dis-ease, disease, dying early, mental health, mental disorders, a lot of that.
Right.
So a lot of my motivation comes from seeing my family members die early from things that they didn't have to die early from. Seeing my family members struggle with substance use, substance misuse a lot, alcoholism, just not wanting to be that and not wanting my children to grow up in that lifestyle. I did not grow up in a household like that, but I saw all my cousins, family members.
Right.
Grandma passed away from cancer, but she had diabetes, all of those things. So, but she was a great person. She was a hardworking person, God-fearing woman. But I've seen a lot at an early age with a lot of things that have gone on in my family. And I always told myself, yeah, I'm going to protect my girls the best way I can. So that's where a lot of my motivation comes from. And coming from Columbia, South Carolina, we are one of the, I would say, hardest states to really make it. And that's my opinion. It's a fact. We come from the South where it's just hard for Black people, period. And coming up from Columbia, South Carolina, you see a lot. Don't matter what side of town you live on, because a lot of people try to say, oh, this is a better side of town, whatever. You're going to see a lot.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. So you see a lot of, ever since high school, just a lot of dropouts. The graduation rates aren't that high in our city, period, overall. Especially, it just depends. So just my motivation came from just wanting more for myself, because I just seen a lot of trauma and tragedy And just not wanting that for myself and not wanting that for my daughter.
Yeah.
And just wanting to help. Like, I just feel like lately I've been feeling like I got to do more. I've been trying to kind of get myself in order so that I can put myself in the forefront, kind of to start to bring awareness to a lot of these things that I just talked about. But I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
But I will be soon, especially for my city.
That I know.
For my city, I know that I got to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think starting with this master's degree, getting this education that I need is going to put me and make me feel like I'm ready to do it. So I will be soon. But a lot of my motivation comes from seeing a lot of these generational curses that I feel like me and my cousins, we have been working on breaking them. But we still got a lot of work to do. And I just want to make sure that my daughters, just like you said, I can get them the best life. Like, I feel like I've been doing a good job. But when it comes to that, now I can say, I feel like, I don't think I'm ever going to feel like when it comes to them. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to ever feel like I did enough. I don't know yet. They're 10 and 2. But I want to feel like I did the best that I absolutely could to give them the world. And I try to do that every day.
No, I agree. As we think about, we talk about breaking all these generational curses and building generational wealth, but I think it starts from within us first, and it's a big task to take on for an entire family in a sense. But somebody has to be the change,
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was talking to someone recently, and what we were talking about this basically the same thing, like building generational wealth, breaking some of these curses. And I said, yeah, I'm going to be the one that's going to break the generational curse or whatever from my family. And then the person, funny, they said to me, maybe your father was the one that broke the generational curse first. And I was like, what? I didn't think about it that way. But I'm like, no, he may have cracked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I want to be out here helping to educate individuals in society. And sometimes I always feel like, what, maybe I'm moving too slow. I'm not moving fast enough. But then I'm of the mindset that I cannot help, or I cannot be of service to others if I'm not servicing myself first. To an extent, I do have my nonprofit organization. We're doing amazing work, and we still have a long way to go with the different opportunities that comes up for us. But for me as an individual, I have to make sure, and that's why I decided to be on this wellness journey, this self-love, this self-transformation journey, because I want to make sure that when I'm coming at people, that my mind is at ease, my mind is at rest. I'm not carrying any excess baggage then, if that makes sense, So I think breaking those generational curses, when we talk about it, it can be heavy, it can be a lot, but like I always say, it's just one day at a time,
Yep.
One day at a time. But as we wrap up, I have some questions to ask you. I'm curious to hear what your answers are. We call these the bonus questions in the tea tasting one. Well, what is it? No, they're not hard. They're not hard questions. It's like, what does wellness mean to you, and how do you prioritize it in your life?
I struggle with this. I'm going to say because I like to try different things. So I'm just like, whatever works. Like, I'm just trying what works. Like, one day it may be some juice shots, ginger shots. I mean, wellness for me is overall mental health, physical, emotional, all of those things.
Right.
But sometimes it's hard. In my past, it was hard for me to balance that all out. Now that I have gotten older and I have had a second child, when I had my second child, I realized how important it was to be healthy, happy, and whole. Like, for real, for real. When I had a second child, it opened up so much for me, like my daughter, like even paying more attention, I feel like, to my daughter's emotional needs. Like, because she was getting up there in age and going through pre-puberty and all of those things, like, it made me even essentially take wellness even more serious. So I make sure I'm taking my vitamins. I'm making sure I'm going to my doctor's appointments. I'm making sure I'm talking to my therapist, my counselor. I'm making sure I eat as healthy as I can. I'm trying to do better with that. That's been a struggle for me because I love food. I like to eat food. I don't care how much money I spend on food. That's where I need to work on my finances when it comes to food. But I have been doing a lot better with that for the most part.
Yeah.
Just taking care of myself. Like, my mom, of course, is a nurse practitioner, so she don't play. She don't play when it comes to us, making sure we're healthy as we can be. You know what I'm saying? So just having her, it has been a good and a bad thing, because sometimes I have had the hypochondriac part of myself that I have had to calm down as well, because that's a part of wellness too, when you kind of worry too much about your health. I have had that part of my life where I have calmed down a lot. You know what I'm saying, when it came to that? Because just having a mom who's seen a lot in the medical field, it can make you kind of,
It opens your eyes.
yeah, yeah, when it comes to a lot of things. So just trying to take care of myself in every way is how I feel like I take care of my wellness, I guess you can say. Just making sure that I'm doing all that I can do for me, for what works for myself. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm drinking my tea of the day.
Yeah.
Everyday detox.
What's your tea today?
It's
Today.
everyday detox. It says supporting healthy skin and liver function. I'm drinking that today.
Oh, well, look at you. Yes, yes, yes.
So drinking my teas, smoothies.
She's drinking her tea in the tea tasting room, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. So how, for me, how do you find balance between work, your personal commitments, and self-care? Because for me, I've developed a morning routine and a evening routine. Like
Mhm.
I've had these routines, I've fallen off, on, because sometimes you just get super tired and you want to sleep in late.
Yeah.
But I realize, because I'm a morning person, I don't care how late I go to sleep, I'm going to wake up. I'll probably wake up and maybe try to go back to sleep. Like this morning, I woke up and I thought, okay, I was up at 5. Okay, let me go back to sleep. I could not.
Yep.
That was it. But for me, in the mornings, I am going to do my devotions, my meditation. Then I'm making sure I'm making time. So I'm waking up with enough time, because there was a point in time where I get up with exact time to only brush my teeth, take a shower, drink some tea, and head out the door. I don't want to do that, especially when it comes to my migraines. Like I can't do that. I have to be intentional. I don't want to have to rush. So in the mornings, I'm dedicating time for my devotion, so my meditation. Sometimes I'll do some stretching or a little bit of workout, depending on how I'm feeling. The workout is still iffy, but we'll get there one day. And then I'll do like some oil pulling, like with some coconut oil. I'll do the oil pulling, brush my teeth, prepare my breakfast, and make sure I'm sitting down and eating. Sometimes, some mornings I'm eating on the go, but that's okay. That's my business. That's what I do. And then in the evening now, I make sure that I'm having a meal. I want to be done eating between the hours of 6 to 8 p.m. Like that's the cutoff time. At 8 p.m., I need to be done eating. Sometimes I'm hungry by 10, but I'm like, we got to train the body.
Yeah.
But I'm making sure I'm doing that. And then I'm making sure I'm taking time to actually journal. I was a person that I would journal every day. Sometimes I don't necessarily journal every day, depending on how I feel, but I'll probably, 2 days wouldn't pass before without me journaling. But I definitely have to journal. I'll come, I'll check my emails. I'll make sure I have dinner, make sure the dishes are clean. All these different things, making sure I'm taking time with my skincare to take me a nice, long, very hot shower. Do my skincare routine, making sure that I'm flossing. It sounds basic or simple, but I actually look forward now to doing that. Like if a night comes where even when I'm tired, as soon as we have tired days, and I'll tell myself, you know what, let's go to sleep. You can brush your teeth in the morning. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna feel comfortable, because it's not part of my life. So no matter what time of day it is, when it comes to my night and my morning routine, like I kind of sacrifice those. So how do you find that balance? Like, do you take time to have a morning routine or night routine, especially even with kids? And that routine could involve your kids too. So how do you find that balance to make sure that maybe your morning routine may not be as functional, because again, you got to get kids ready, or maybe it is, or your night routine. So where do you find that balance to make sure that you're practicing self-care?
So my morning routine, that's something I got to work on. I think I did good last week. Some weeks it's worse than others. Last week I was doing good. Today I woke up early. I won't say I'm not a morning person. When I started at our job, I really had to train myself. I'm like, okay, I can't do these things anymore. I have to get up. Like I was so worried about that. And I was like, I can't, because I'm not used to because I didn't work for a while. I was just a student, even during the pandemic. And
Right.
I really just went to school, and I was a stay-at-home mom for a while.
Right.
So with me still, my morning routine is very iffy, and that's something that I know about myself that I got to work on. But I'm a night person. I'm a night owl. My night routine has always been my thing. So I just love my showers. I love my clay mask that I make with the apple cider vinegar bentonite clay. So with me, I do like a lot of Sunday self-care days. Sometimes it's me and my daughter, sometimes it's by myself, where we'll do like hair masks, things of that nature. I hope I'm answering this question right, because you said routines, right?
No, that's how you factor in or balance, making sure that you have your self-care in. So you're doing, if Sundays is your day, that's fine.
Sundays is my day a lot of times, and then nighttime is my time. So a lot of times, like you said, I do try to eat before 8, but sometimes that ain't my thing either, but I'm working on that as well. Making sure a lot of times I try to cook dinner, if I'm going to cook dinner when I get home, maybe like 6-ish. But like I said, I'm a nighttime person. I'm a night owl. So I try to have dinner done and spend time with my daughters. I go for a walk. at least 5 times a week. I've been doing that for a
Mm-hmm.
while. I go for walks at night, sometimes with my daughters, sometimes I go by myself. What else do? I have started working out, doing my at-home workouts with my weights and just trying to get my waist together, snatched or whatever, and
Snatched.
trying to lose that back fat is what I'm trying to work on right
So
now.
what are they calling it out here in these streets? You're trying to unbig your back?
Yes, I've been working on that at night. Take it like last night, I took me an Epsom salt bath.
Ooh.
Watching my shows, just whatever relaxes me and calms me. I like to, and I do have a nighttime routine with my skin. A lot of vitamin C, retinol, sometimes shea butter, washing my face and putting some shea butter on my skin, making sure I'm moisturized. I love to buy all kinds of different body washes, TikTok shop stuff. So just anything that calms me. And I have my routine where I do journal and read the Bible. I'm more of like a spirit-led person. Like I don't have like a normal journal routine or reading the Bible routine.
Yeah.
It's whenever I feel led to do it. So I'm not one of those people that have a routine when it comes to that. Whenever my spirit says, okay, Shambria, you need to let this out. You need to see what God has for you to read today or what word he has for me today, then I do it. But I'm not like
I love that.
routine person when it comes to those.
I love that. And then the last question is when was the last time you gave yourself a compliment or affirmed yourself?
I've been affirming myself a lot lately because, I'm going through like a breakup or a time off from my long-term relationship. And I've been affirming to myself that I am not lonely, that I'm doing this because it's the best for me. I'm not lonely. I'm learning to really sit by myself with my thoughts, because when you've been in a long-term relationship, it's like you're always worried about yourself, that other person, and then your children and all of those things. So now it's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm only worried about myself. So it can feel like you're lonely, but I'm not. I'm okay. I'm affirming to myself that I'm beautiful. I deserve what it is that I've been wanting, and I'm not going to just settle, be it if it's back with him, if it was somebody else. I'm just affirming that I'm everything that deserves what it is that I want. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to stop until I get those things from a person or from myself.
I love
I give it to myself too. I've been going out, and I may take myself on a date, or me and Tanya may go do something today, but I am just affirming that I deserve everything that I want.
Well, I agree. I love that. You deserve everything. And like you say, you're not lonely. You're just going through a transitional phase where on this same self-discovery elevation period that it's a requirement at this point,
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for finally joining me here in the tea tasting room. But again, my life's mantra, nothing happens before it's time. And I feel like, maybe now we were able to have things to talk about that make sense and not just, we run them out because we want to. So I definitely appreciate you being here. And if you want to, you can tell the people where they can find you on your social media, because you be killing it over there on that particular app. So if you want to share it, you can. If not, that's fine. That is totally up to you. And I will just go ahead and say this, that she will have something coming out for you guys in the near future.
Yes.
So we'll do a follow-up with Miss Shambria about that particular thing that she's working on, that we're going to keep a secret right now between us and the tea tasters listening to this episode. But definitely, thank you for joining me.
Yes. And I'll share my social media the next time, because I'm still working on those things. So
yes. See, the thing is, she got to teach me how to take a social media break. I'm just not there in life yet. I'm probably too nosy, or I try to blame the podcast for me being on social media. I'm like, goodbye. That is not even an excuse. But
well, let me share
definitely, like I say, she'll be back.
It's one of my things that I do that I meant to talk about. I fast from things when I'm trying to manifest things. So I'm fasting from Instagram. Like, really, I've been off of Facebook for a long time. But I'm fasting from Instagram because it's one of my favorite things until I graduate. I think.
No, she did say that. I was like, girl, that's a long time.
Unless I feel led to get back on there before that. But right now, I'm fasting from mostly a lot of social media, but I love TikTok too, so I can't. I'm just giving myself some leeway with that. But I do a lot of fasting too, which I did not talk about. But I do. I fast from a lot of things when I'm trying to manifest or whatever it is I'm trying to do. I do that a lot. And it has been successful for me. So that's something else to think about as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to end this episode. Sometimes we got to take a fast when we look at people and we look at certain things.
Yeah.
If you want to manifest certain things, he's got to take a break from things. It's not that hard to take a break, recuperate, see where you are, get with a better headspace. So that's good stuff. So we shall definitely end on that note. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.